This video introduces claim evidence reasoning, which will be a theme throughout this course. This is the essence of scientific reporting, providing evidence that backs up a claim and then explaining the reasoning that links the claim with the evidence. If I scroll upwards, I'll show now the distinct components of claim evidence and reasoning. A claim is a statement that you claim as fact. Evidence is scientific data. In this class, evidence will include rate constants. It will include molecular orbital evidence, including molecular orbital energies and electron density, filled or empty orbitals. You've already learned about infrared spectroscopy in the 202Z lab. In the early part of this semester, in 203Z lab, you'll learn about NMR spectroscopy. And probably as early as the second or third module in this class, I will begin introducing some of that spectroscopic data, and will ask you to come up with structural assignments as the evidence. And then reasoning simply connects the evidence to the claim. Moving to the second page of the claim evidence reasoning worksheet, this is a rubric that I will use in evaluating the work that you submit on module tests for claim evidence and reasoning. Now, in many cases, I may give you one of these three components. Most often I will give you evidence, and I may ask you to make a certain type of claim. We'll often try to direct that. Sometimes it'll be a bit more open-ended, and I will accept several different types of claims. And then the reasoning should line up with the claim that you make. In fact, if you make a claim that is inconsistent with the evidence, I will actually want to see reasoning that supports the claim that you've made, even if it's inconsistent with the evidence. I want at least the claim and reasoning to line up if the claim and evidence don't happen to line up. This is the standard that I will expect for you to meet. We will practice this together in class with reinforcement in the learning assistance sessions. The importance with the claim is that it should be specific and complete. Actually, it should also be accurate. The evidence should be relevant and sufficient to support the claim. I'm a little less strict about irrelevance, especially in the beginning, but it is easier for me to grade if there's not a lot of excess stuff that is not relevant to support the claim. And then for the reasoning, it should be logical. It should use scientific principles, and it should be completely tied back to the claim. Since many of your answers in module tests will be short answers, I will ask you to use complete sentences, organize your writing, although in many cases, a sufficient answer will be a single paragraph. And I'll often ask you to break up claim from evidence and break up reasoning from claim. And ideally, you will use academic language, although this is something that you will build with more experience. Since you will be typing this into a keyboard, Writing legibly is less important than spelling correctly and using appropriate grammar. I won't focus on the third page of the Claim Evidence Reasoning worksheet, but it is included with the PDF file that is uploaded to the Canvas site. I'll show some information from the textbook and point out that it is mostly claims and a little weak on the evidence. This is a page from the textbook. It should be familiar since you've already studied E1 mechanisms, and we will begin Chem 203Z with E2 mechanisms. Let me blow up part of this page so it's easier to see. So for this section of the page, the materials that are highlighted are claims. These are good things to know. Some of it may have been justified with some evidence on the previous page, but these are claims. You could memorize these, but I think it's a little bit more interesting to build understanding based on evidence and then making the claims and the reasoning linking evidence and claim. This statement is another claim, but then in the following paragraph, which is at a low level some reasoning, they point to the rate equations as evidence. This statement is evidence followed after the colon by a claim. When we study the E2 mechanism in Module 1, I will present rate constants as numerical data evidence for specific types of bases, where we will determine if it is a strong base or a weak base from the pKa data for the conjugate acid. So that with this numerical data, we can make a stronger case of reasoning that bases the claim on this evidence. This concludes the introductory video for Module 0.